Demand number 7 requires organizations such as the Boy Scouts of America to accept homosexual scoutmasters.
When you talk about the strides that have been made in the gay and lesbian community, I mean, it's good news and bad news. I mean, what's ironic is that this terrible, awful disease, which has taken so many of our friends and lovers away from us, has been the same thing that has gelled us together as a community. And I think it's ironic because it's really because of this disease that we've all gathered much more political strength.
We've had over 100 co-sponsors of the federal lesbian and gay civil rights bill the last session of Congress, so we have a lot of people that I think we can consider our friends. Kennedy is one of the main forefront people as far as pushing that bill through.
We have certainly increased the number of our friends in Congress. We've got more energy, more resources, more people with a much higher level of optimism. We've got to keep moving people into office on every level. We cannot step back for a minute. We've got to keep our constituents not for a minute believing that now is the time to lay back. Now is not the time to lay back. We got to move our agenda while we've got a window of opportunity.
We've had some big legislative successes over the last few years, including the passage of the Hate Crime Statistics Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. And we believe it's time to pass a federal lesbian and gay civil rights bill.
We all know we're going to see an executive order, see a civil rights bill in the very near future.
We're here to demonstrate that the queer community in the United States is united, and we're going to do everything that we can in order to make sure that we get the legislative power that we deserve.
The government does not respond. We are going to make the government respond.
If they keep with us, then maybe we're going to have to start throwing bombs to make them stop.
We're young, we're queer, we're gonna rule the world. We're young, we're queer, we're gonna rule the world.
These guys are on the move. They're not only staying with the military and the Supreme Court and the House and the Senate, but they're coming into the states, and they're trying to put in laws at the city level, at the community level, at the county level, at the state level.
And make no mistake about it, we will not stop until we have achieved our freedom, our justice, and our pursuit of happiness.
For the first time in American history, a gay and lesbian inaugural ball was held in honor of the president's election. Throughout the program, Bill Clinton, via videotape, thanked the gay community for its support and financial contribution. In return, the gay community cheered Bill Clinton as the president they put into office.
I just want to thank the gay and lesbian community for your courage and your commitment. I have a vision, and you're a part of it.
The election of Bill Clinton was the single most significant event in the struggle for lesbian and gay civil rights.
We believe in the new administration, and we want to support it. We could not stay home and let this go on without us.
It's our government now. It's our government now.
What you see behind you is a plan for Mr. Clinton, because all of what you see here, Bill Clinton, through his executive offices, appointments, and administrative departments, can do himself without Congress. Although, of course, Congress has got to come up behind and also push. We have a whole other agenda for the 103rd Legislative Congress.
Clinton is a friend of ours, and he's going to take care of all gay and lesbians' rights, and he's going to shake up the country.
We're watching you, Bill. We're keeping our eyes on you. We're keeping our big queer eyes on you.
And Al, too.
And Al, too. We like Al.
He's cuter.
Many of those involved in churches, schools, and businesses are concerned about the ramifications should homosexuals be granted minority status.
Well, if Congress should have the misfortune to include homosexuals within the 1964 Civil Rights Act as a specially protected class, I think it would have a very disastrous effect on our society. It would mean that people against their own religious principles would perhaps have to hire such people.
You're going to see government using the force of law to say to you in your business, you're going to have to hire this person because he is a homosexual.
If you have, in some small town in Mississippi, a person that comes in as homosexual and says, I want a job, and for whatever reason you don't hire that person, you run the risk of being sued and put out of business. It is a mistake for lots of reasons, including the additional burden on small business men and women.
Special privileges for homosexuals would allow one more reason to file a lawsuit, one more way that a small business could find itself blackmailed politically or economically.
The lengths to which they will go and the legal problems this would cause if we dared to put it into the Civil Rights Act are unimaginable at this point.
Gay activists have wasted no time in pushing their agenda into schools across America. Under the guise of AIDS education and multiculturalism, homosexuals are promoting their lifestyle to children beginning in preschool and kindergarten. Books such as Heather Has Two Mommies and Daddy's Roommate are currently being used in many private and public schools and libraries without the knowledge of parents. In addition, the playbook for kids about sex is being made available to elementary school children and gives specific instructions on various methods of masturbation. Michael Swift writes in Gay Community News, "We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your dormitories, in your gymnasiums, in your locker rooms, in your sports arenas, in your seminaries, in your youth groups." Project 10, named after the myth that one person in 10 is homosexual, was spawned in 1984 in Los Angeles, California. Its goal, according to its lesbian founder, school teacher Virginia Uribe, was to persuade school children, beginning in kindergarten, to accept homosexual behavior as normal and desirable. For her efforts, Uribe was given the Award for Creative Leadership in Human Rights by the National Education Association.
The state courts must be used to force the school districts to disseminate accurate information about homosexuality. They need to hear this. Kids need to hear this. They need to hear the latest scientific information on the subject of homosexuality, and that's something that all kids need to hear, not just gay and lesbian kids. Starting from kindergarten, again, and working its way all the way through high school. This idea of talking about it one time in high school, well, we know that doesn't work. We need to start tackling this at the very early ages.
We're an organization of gay and lesbian teachers working against homophobia in schools.
One of the things that sex education does in the public schools is to tell the kids that there is no difference between homosexual lifestyle and heterosexual lifestyle. The aim of that is basically to break down any type of what they would call prejudice against the homosexual lifestyle. So basically what Americans have to understand is that the agenda of the homosexuals is aimed at the children.
The young boys are so vulnerable to this because there's a period of time in their life, you know, when they like boys. I mean, they don't like girls. They want to stay with boys. And if you bring in the homosexual agenda into that educational type of system, the homosexuals are going to just say, well, of course you don't like girls. Well, you're one of us. And it is a serious, serious matter. I mean, people don't realize that we're going to lose thousands and thousands and thousands of good heterosexuals to the homosexual revolution.
As a school board member, I'm extremely concerned that the homosexual activists across the United States are trying to use public schools and tax dollars to promote their agenda. What they are asking school boards across America to do is bypass the parents.
I think the problem that I have with special rights legislation based on sexual preference is it takes the authority and the instruction of parents and undermines it systematically. I think that it shouldn't be the role of government to teach a child something else in school that is radically different than what they're learning at home.
I'm very much behind the parents who do not think this is an appropriate kind of teaching for their children. This is not the kind of lesson we want to teach children in schools, particularly, I say this as former Secretary of Education, when our children are last in the industrialized world in math and science. The last thing we should be doing is fooling around with this kind of thing. They should be learning the basic skills. But on that part of the school's function, whereas to teach values, it must teach the values that parents want to be taught, not somebody's idea of what children should learn in order to be enlightened.